Hello. This is Fulham Palace Wall Gardens. These are some chickens. I just wanted to kind of talk about some of the gigs I've done thus far in September. About halfway through, I've done 5 out of 12 that I've got booked in September, which is the most gigs I've ever in any month since I've been doing comedy. So that's great. I've had 2 which were very much like 5 minutes working on new material. One of them we had some mic issues, which I think I dealt with okay, but I might put a clip in of here, just me sort of faltering on the mic momentarily. The main... Is that one okay? That one? There we go. That one? That's completely gone. That one? Is that any better? Do you want me to just carry on without? Yeah. Okay, I'll just sort of hold it here. If it comes back on, I'll carry on. So the main thing that I worked on in those was 2 bits. So I was working on one bit which kind of for a little while I haven't quite managed to make work, and I think it's a strong premise, and it's just about being added to a WhatsApp group where people share a tuxedo. And I've sort of rewritten that, like, pretty much wholly, and trying to make that work. I'm still struggling a little bit, but I'm really sort of sure of the concept, in the same way that I had a bit a while back where I was working on it, where it was about like getting a recommendation for where to get a gavel from. And again, sort of completely rewrote that, but like the actual sort of core structure and thing was the same, and eventually managed to make it work. So I'm pretty confident if I keep on that just as a sort of minute and a half bit, that will eventually work. But the other bit I was working on was a sort of entirely new bit about sort of my struggles with depression. And I've kind of gone into this because I sort of reasonably successfully managed to sort of rewrite a piece called Pete Sanderson, which is a longer bit again. It's a bit more heartfelt, and it's about my time in hospital when I was having some operations. And, having gone through that process and sort of managed to figure out how to sort of put the minute at the start of more regular jokes, get the audience to trust me, kind of find the storytelling aspect. I'm hoping to do that with this. However, at the moment, I'm still missing perhaps a little bit of that sort of intro trust, and also, probably needs a bit of a, more rights where I can actually like punctuate it with more gags to make sure the audience knows that I'm okay and it's okay to laugh at what I'm talking about. So it still feels like a bit of a way there. I don't know if I'm going to make that work or not, but I'm going to keep trying for a while longer. But it was interesting to kind of give that a couple of run out and just sort of run that through. So yeah, that was helpful, and hopefully I'll get a few more chances over the next couple of weeks with the remaining gigs in September to sort of really work those through. But some other stuff that came out of these gigs. I did one 15 minutes out in Essex, which was the second 15 minutes I've ever done, and that went a lot better than the first. I sort of really sort of listened to the audience, like let the laughter dissipate. The set was better structured, and I sort of managed to, I think last time I sort of came off after 13 and a half, 14 minutes, just because I'd done what I planned to do. Whereas this time I sort of really like hit 15 minutes and like had a couple of options where I went, okay, if I'm, at this time point, if I'm at this point in the set, then I can add this or take that away. So sort of from a professional perspective, it felt more sort of cohesive. And yeah, I was kind of almost also made me realise that, I wasn't just doing everything I had that worked. I also was able to sort of go, okay, well, these bits fit together better, and I still had probably another 10 minutes maybe of stuff that I know works. So I could theoretically do up to 25 minutes of, that tried and tested material, which is good if I wanted to go and do, say, half an hour at, say, Leicester Fringe this year, which I'm considering. But obviously it would be just a sort of greatest hits rather than something that was more cohesive. So you were putting it together for like an Edinburgh hour. Some of those bits wouldn't fit, but it's good to know how much sort of working material I've got. So that was good. And then the other one I did a 10, which was a little bit more ad hoc. I didn't realise I was going to do a 10. But what I did manage to do there was very much stay in the room and sort of listen to the material that the audience was responding to, and sort of pivot on the fly rather than just sort of like running through the material that I prepared, which I think is what happened in the first 15 minutes as well, where I was just like, okay, I'll go from this and then this. And so really knowing the set was one thing, but also just like, probably less nerves and just kind of like dealing with the situation at hand. Which is also what I did when the mic went off, I think, a little bit to some extent as well. So it's good to sort of see that the gigging experience is kind of kicked in there. So that was really nice to see. And I think mainly the takeaways are I just need to make sure I've got kind of plan A and plan B memorized, and they're all front and center when I'm going into a gig, to be like, okay, well, if they're going more for story stuff, or they're going for more short stuff or whatever, then I'll know which direction, and I've got that at my fingertips. But also really need to just like figure out my writing process and get more disciplined with, you know, this bit I'm talking about with depression. I need to just like sit down for, you know, an afternoon and just like really sort of, you know, get the, you know, try and apply some jokes in there and then test them. I've done a few rewrites, but yeah, I think it's a discipline thing that I need to work on as well. That's everything I wanted to sort of go over. So thanks for your time. Hope you're well. Enjoy the chickens. And I'll update on the rest of the gigs probably at the September gigs at the end of the month in a couple of weeks. Bye. Next video should be here.